In this video, we are going to be looking at absolute value, and you are going to be able to determine the absolute value of a number. So let's first look at vocabulary. What is absolute value? Absolute value is the distance from zero on the number line. Absolute value always has a distance that is positive. So distance is always positive. So let's look at the number line. And if we look at the absolute value of -6, what that means is we are looking at -6 is right here. And what is the distance from 0 on the number line? And again, distance is always positive. So that tells me what is the distance between 0 and -6. So I start from 0 and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that tells me that the absolute value of -6 is 6. So the distance from -6 and 0 on the number line is 6. Let's look at another example. Here I have absolute value of 3. So from 0 to 3, I go 1, 2, 3. That tells me that I have a distance of 3. So the distance from 0 and 3 on the number line is 3. Okay, here's a note. Negatives outside of the absolute value bars will remain negative. We will see an example. So what that means is that if I have a negative outside here of the absolute value bars, then my answer will be negative. That does not mean that the distance is negative. It just means my answer is negative. Distance, again, is inside the absolute value bars. So if I have a negative outside, then my answer will be negative. Okay, let's look at a first example. I have two examples, and this first one is the absolute value of -9. So if I look at a number line, I am looking at what is the distance from 0 to -9 on the number line. Well, I have a distance of 9. So the distance from 0 to -9 on the number line is 9. Hence, the absolute value of -9 equals 9. And also, again, note that since the negative is inside the absolute value bars, the answer will be positive. So again, it's inside the absolute value bars. All right, let's look at an example where the negative is outside of the absolute value bars. So this example states negative absolute value of 5. So if I look at a number line, 0 to 5, I know that the distance is 5. So that means that this right here is 5. And again, this negative is on the outside. So the distance from 0 to 5 on the number line is 5. Since the negative is outside of the absolute value bars, we will keep the negative. Hence, negative absolute value of 5 equals -5. And again, that negative is right on the outside of the absolute value bars. So my answer is -5. Okay, so I have 8 your turn problems. And if you want to solve this problem, you will go ahead and pause the video, and then you can play the video and it will show you the answer. But again, pause the video right now if you want to solve the problem on your own. Okay, so here I have absolute value of -7. So that tells me on a number line, I am looking at 0 to -7, and that is a distance of 7. So the distance from 0 to -7 on the number line is 7. Hence, the absolute value of -7 equals +7. So note that since the negative is inside the absolute value bars, the answer will be positive. Exactly what we talked about earlier. So now let's move on to your turn number 2. Again, if you want to solve this problem, go ahead and pause it. So here I have negative absolute value of -6. So I'm going to look at the inside of the absolute value on a number line, and I'm looking at 0 to -6, the distance. Well, I know that's a distance of 6. So that means that this right here is all 6, but I still have this negative on the outside. So the distance from 0 to -6 on the number line is 6. However, the negative outside stays negative. So since I have this negative on the outside, it will stay negative. Hence, negative absolute value of -6 equals -6. Okay, your turn number 3. If you want to solve this, go ahead and pause it. So I am looking at the absolute value of 0. So on a number line, 0 is right here. Well, the distance from 0 to 0 is 0. So that means that hence the absolute value of 0 is equal to 0. And that is it. Okay, your turn number 4. Now, I have 4 problems where we are going to be simplifying absolute value expressions. So in order to simplify the expressions, I'm going to start from left to right and simplify these absolute values. So here I have an absolute value of -21. The negative is inside. I know the distance from -21 and 0 on the number line is a distance of +21. So I'm going to bring that down. Now I'm going to look at my negative right here, and I'm going to bring that down here. And now I'm going to look at my absolute value of -8. And again, on a number line, I know the distance from -8 and 0 on the number line is 8. Okay, now I'm going to simplify my expression by doing 21 minus 8, and that is 13. So that tells me my answer is 13 after simplifying this absolute value expression. All right, we're on your turn number 5, and if you want to pause the video, go ahead and pause it. So I'm going to start like I did with your turn number 4. I'm going to start by looking at this absolute value, and my absolute value is of -16. Well, I know that that is +16. I'm going to bring down this plus, and then I'm going to look at this absolute value. I have absolute value of -5. The distance of -5 and 0 on the number line is a +5. I'm going to simplify. 16 plus 5 equals 21. Therefore, my answer for this absolute value expression is 21. Okay, your turn number 6. Again, if you want to solve this, please go ahead and pause it. So I'm going to start from the left side. Here I have absolute value of -7. I know that is a positive distance of 7. I'm going to bring down my plus. So let's bring that down. And then I'm going to look at the absolute value of +8, which is still +8. Okay. Bring down my minus, I'm sorry, I said negative, but my minus. And then I'm going to look at the absolute value of -6. -6 and 0 on the number line gives me a distance of 6. Okay, I'm going to simplify this expression. 7 plus 8. I'm going to add that together and I get a sum of 15. I'm going to bring down my minus, and then I'm going to bring down this 6. And when I bring that down, I am now going to simplify 15 minus 6, and that will give me 9. So my answer is 9. All right, your turn number 7. Now, this has something that you have not seen yet, but it's very, very simple. It has a multiplier in front of the absolute value bars. So here it's saying 3 times the absolute value of -8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down this 3. So I'm bringing it down. And then again, it's a multiplier. There's an invisible multiplication in here, so it's implied. So I'm going to bring that down. And now I'm going to be able to look at my absolute value. So absolute value of -8 is -8 and 0 on the number line has a distance of 8. I'm going to bring down this minus sign. And then lastly, I'm going to bring down this +5. Okay. So bring that down. Order of operations, I'm going to multiply first 3 times 8. I know that that is 24. Then I'm going to bring down my minus, and I'm going to bring down my positive 5. Simplify, 24 minus 5 equals 19. And that is it for this problem. Okay, last problem. It's similar to the problem before, and I'm going to solve it very similar, just like I did with problem number 7, sorry. And so if you want to solve this problem, please pause the video. Okay, so I am going to bring down my 7. It is being multiplied. See, here's that invisible multiplication. It's being multiplied by this absolute value. So absolute value of -8, I know is positive 8. I'm going to bring down this minus. Okay, and then I am going to also bring down my 3. So this is 3 is being multiplied by the absolute value of 5. So let's bring down that multiplication sign. And then here, absolute value of 5 will just give me 5. 7 times 8, I'm going to combine or simplify, sorry, 7 times 8, multiply it, I get 56. I'm going to bring down my minus, and I'm going to do 3 times 5, and that gives me 15. Now I'm just going to simplify 56 minus 15, and I get an answer of 41, and that is it.